What if the life you imagined for yourself just doesn't happen? And I'm not saying you didn't try, not because of that you didn't care, simply because life took you somewhere you never expected. Occasionally, I think about it. Occasionally, I think about that. See, in the past, when you were younger, you had this idea of how your life is going to look, right? You imagine this nice job, cool relationship, fancy home, neat friends. By the time I am this age, I have figured out things. You see, and then you get older. Then you realize your life looks nothing like the picture you had in your head. And that's weird feeling. I mean, you can be okay one day and then suddenly something reminds you of where you thought you'd be. And then you think, how did I come to this? How did I end up being like that? You see, I had those thoughts. Perhaps you have them too. It's like you start thinking about the things you wanted to realize, come to realization. I mean, the things you always planned for, things you thought would happen, right? But it's the opposite. They didn't happen. That's when regret can really get to you. Then you start going back to your old decision making. What if I had done things differently? Perhaps if I just started earlier. What about the opportunity if I had taken that? But there's the part nobody really tells you. Sometimes you're not grieving the life you lost. You're grieving a life that never actually happened. And that's because you can spend like years thinking about the person you thought you would become and wondering where that person actually are. Where did he go? But maybe that person was never real, just imagination in your head. Perhaps it was all the time just an idea, a picture, a mental picture you created when you were younger. You see, there's nothing wrong with admitting that your life didn't turn out the way you expected. Some things really are gone. Some opportunities simply won't come back. And the same with the age. The years that are gone will not come back. This you cannot change. And I am not going to tell you to just move on. It's not that simple. There comes a point where you have to ask yourself how long I am going to keep living a life that doesn't exist. Because the life you imagined in your head is where? It's in your head. The life you actually have, the present moment, is right here. And yes, of course, it's not perfect. Nothing is perfect. Perhaps you are disappointed, right? With your life, perhaps with your job, and so on. Maybe you're still trying to solve things out. I know I am doing that with my life. But what can you do? This is where you are. So the important thing is like ask yourself, what can you do from now on here? Not from 6 months from now, 5 years from now, not when everything is finally fixed, just from here. Maybe that's the part we forget. I'm telling you, we keep waiting for life to become like some kind of paradise on some imaginary island. Instead, you should be asking what we can do with the reality, your life actually that you have. Still, I don't have a perfect answer. I'm trying to figure out. You see, maybe you don't need one either. Maybe you just need to stop punishing yourself for not becoming the person you always wanted to be. Look right now, you are here, and that means there is still something you can do with the life that you have now, right? So, if the life you always imagined doesn't happen, that's not the end of your life story. The real question now is, what are you going to do with it? The life that you have now. Thanks for staying with me, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.